This is P. Palmiotti, and my internet is bad right now, but bear with me. We've been having storms, like rainstorms, thunderstorms here recently, so looks like it's okay right now. Okay, so if you didn't know, me and Mark Torres and our book Designated, we're on a show tour. I just did Zimcast tonight, and we got 2 tomorrow night coming up. Zimcast might be still going on. Who knows? I left early, but we got 2 other shows tomorrow night. Creative Con event, which is my art rep and his channel, and then Kayla Steep. Kayla's been on my channel recently a couple of times, so it would be great to go on to her channel and dig into our book, and looking forward to that. Other than that, I'm here with my friend Scott Serkland.
Hey Peter, how's it going?
Alrighty, man. So it's funny because it's like I do check my my email every day, and I got your newsletter the other day, but I like skimmed it. I was like, oh, Young and the Dead stuff. Oh, that's cool. But I didn't read it. It's like usually I save that stuff for the end of the day or something.
Yeah.
And then I noticed you were streaming, and I was like, oh, let me go watch a bit of it. And you were like, oh, we're live with our Kickstarter. And
yeah, they keep saying that all the time, and since you're running Kickstarters yourself, you know that you can never really get the word out enough, because it's like it doesn't matter how much stuff you put out there, people are going to miss it because people are always afraid am I like spamming people or whatever. But like half the stuff you put out there, it just people have busy lives, so I mean they may see part of it or they may not see it at all, the way sort of Facebook decides to share stuff and everything. So yeah, you just got keep putting stuff out there. But so I figured yesterday was my launch day, so I'll do as much as I can. So I sent out the newsletter, post on Facebook, did a live stream. I figure between those, maybe some people will see it, but I got to keep going. So, but I love the idea of the tour like you're doing. That's great. I'm reaching out to some of my friends and stuff to try to get on their channels and everything, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here tonight. But I don't have like an official tour. I love that idea, and I saw coming up you're going to be on. It looked like you're going to be on Josh's channel coming up, so that's cool too.
Yeah.
We're gonna try to get you on the Artcasters. When does the campaign wrap up? Because we're booked up, but we want
the 30th.
30th. Okay, we should be good. We'll if we can't get you on next week, I think the following week your campaign should still be live. So let me check here. Yeah. If we can't get you on next week, we'll try to get you on the following week, all right?
Yeah, excellent.
Right.
Yeah,
we're just scheduling stuff live, like no one's watching, and this is super boring for people, but
there's a couple of people watching, which is good. It's like I haven't been like on a time schedule for a long time, so it's like random people watching at random times. But
right,
more people watch after the fact, which is it's always good. But yeah, you launch. This is the 5th time around, the 5th book.
5th book's 3rd Kickstarter, because the other ones I didn't kickstart. I already have them out. But yeah.
Is there one more book coming?
There is. The plan? So this book is I guess what they call the ultimate issue. It's sort of the Empire Strikes Back of Young and the Dead, where this kind of leaves on a pretty big cliffhanger. There's a pretty big reveal, a couple kind of reveals in this one, and then the next one will be. The next one won't be double size, but the next one's already written. I just haven't started drawing it. But it's going to be a larger issue, just so I can wrap up everything. And so there's one more issue. So it'll be in total, it'll be 6 issues. So yeah.
Right. That's excellent, man. I guess we should go back a little bit before we go forward. Like let people know who you are and what you've been up to past, decade.
So let's see, how far back do we want to go? We go back to Art and Story days, kind of where that's probably where I guess you and I first connected, I assume. Just kind of
as that a fan of podcasts.
Yeah, we were both kind of fans of that podcast, which was sort of related to another podcast that was the Big Illustration Party Time.
Right.
Which the two hosts of that, one of them, Joshua Kimball, who's now the co-host of the show that I do, and for a while, the other co-host was my co-host on the Artcasters, which has had a number of iterations. And you're looking at the guy right here who started it. You know, you and Jeff started the Artcasters, a certain iteration. Then I think Jeff, you know, I'm trying to remember. It went on for a while, Artcasters, and then I think Jeff stopped it, and then he wanted to do something I think a little more structured, which is kind of weird for Jeff.
I mean, it went through lots of iterations.
Yeah.
But you were on the official, you know, like the first episode me and Jeff did were with a guy named Jeff, but you were on the second episde of our show.
Yeah, I think
go almost all the way back to the beginning.
And I think Jeff was doing just I don't know if it was called the Artcasters, but he was doing hangouts or whatever, just like morning hangouts. And I was doing a lot of that with Jeff. And then so the iteration that you started with Jeff kind of, I guess, ran its course. And then Jeff reached out to me and Kevin, and he said he wanted to do something, you know, with just I guess us three. And so we did that for a while, and then Jeff decided that he wanted to do other things. And then it was just me and Kevin. I think at that point we brought Josh Kimball on, and then so we had three. And then Kevin decided to bail. I'm like, okay. And previous to that, I didn't really know Josh, you know, but we got to know each other just from him being on the show. And at that point, I didn't, you know, we had done a few shows, and I just kind of asked Josh, I like doing this show. Do you want to keep doing it? And he's like, yeah. I said, it kind of works better with three people. So at that point, because like I said, this second iteration, whatever the Artcasters, it was just us three, and we didn't have guests or anything. And I was like, well, let's do us two, and then we'll just have a different guest on each time. And so that's kind of when we started with, like, you know, having different guests on. And then eventually we brought Corey Kerr on, and we still have guests. So, but we're keeping it going. So Jeff kind of handed the keys over to me eventually when he left, and so I've been keeping it going. I guess we're still going. So
yeah. I mean that's the Artcasters, but what maybe a lot of people, new watchers of my channel and whatnot, don't know your evil lab science guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So then for that, we got to go back to the 100 Days of Making Comics. And I don't know how many, I assume a decent amount of people that follow you have probably done that challenge or whatever.
You can give them
I think that's, yeah. So I think that's kind of more or less, it was a pretty big community. It was centered, once again, created by Kevin Cross. But he just started doing these videos. I think he based it on some kind of a workout thing where you just work out for 30 minutes a day, every day for 100 days straight. And then he's like, well, I can do that with comics, because he's like, if I just do a little work on comics a little bit every single day, by the time we're done, it'll all add up, and then you can have a finished comic or a lot of work done on your comic and everything. So he started this challenge, and then I'm trying to, somebody, I think maybe one or two people, it might have been, I don't know if you had jumped on it before me or not. I think Marshall Lee did.
I think I was right after Marshall.
Okay. So,
yeah.
So, and I don't know if at that point I had known that you guys were doing it, because I remember reaching out to Kevin and like, hey, do you mind if I do this too? And I guess if I would have saw other people doing it, I wouldn't have hesitated that much. But I was like, I don't want to rip you off or anything, but you mind if I do this? And then, then people just kept doing it. And so when I started doing the 100 Days of Making Comics, I just, when I was a kid, I used to take, we had like the family camcorder, and we used to do parodies of like, like SNL type stuff and all that stuff. So that was always a lot of fun for me. So I'm like, well, if I'm going to do these videos, I'm going to try to add some production value, which if you look back, it's really bad. it's like really bad and super boring. And if anyone can sit through that without falling asleep, I give you credit. But it was a start, you know, and then, you know, you do these videos every single day for 100 days straight. You got 100 videos. And then I've done the challenge, 2 or 3 times. And so I just started building all these videos, and I started, you know, the more you do, I mean, this is perfect, you know, advice for anyone doing comics. The more you do, the better you get. You can't just keep doing something over and over again and not get better. So I started getting better at videos, and I'm like, oh, I gotta, and I've always been, you know, when I'm not doing comics and everything, I've always, you know, been, you know, illustrator, graphic designer, working for whatever ad agencies or video game companies or whatever. But or my own studio, you know, I kind of ran my own freelance studio for a long time. So I was really big on branding. So I'm like, well, these are the things I like to draw. I like to draw robots. I like to draw zombies. I like to draw aliens. And I'm thinking, how do I put those all under one umbrella? And I'm thinking, well, okay, like this underground, this kind of clandestine laboratory where maybe they're doing, you know, maybe they're reverse engineering alien technology, and maybe they're working with biological stuff that could cause a zombie outbreak, and also creating robots and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, these things can kind of fit in this idea of this mad science lab. So that was kind of the birth of the whole idea of the underground lair. And I've always been a big fan of, you know, whether it's Frankenstein or James Bond with all the crazy James Bond villains and all that kind of stuff like that.
Right.
So I kind of built it around that idea. And so I wear a green lab coat, and I basically now, I mean, the channel is me, you know, just giving advice for artists, sharing the stuff that I've learned along the way, because there really wasn't, you know, when I was coming up, everything was kind of this carefully guarded secret, like these trade secrets. And unless you know, it's like, oh, I had to learn stuff the hard way, so you need to learn stuff the hard way too. But when YouTube came around, people got a little more open to the idea of sharing right. stuff, like sharing how they do stuff, and which is so much better. And I wish I had those kind of resources when I was coming up, because I see these young artists that are just like amazing because they've got all this stuff at their fingertips. They don't have to figure it out themselves. They've got access. Anything you want to learn is on YouTube. So I always laugh, because when I do these videos, people ask, you know, you get questions like, how do I do this? You know, well, you can ask me how to do that. I may have already done a video on it, but if you just type that into your search on YouTube, you'll probably figure out how to do it. So it's like, it's all there. It's really amazing. It's a great time to be an artist. So yeah.
Yeah. And so many, you know, communities of people have popped up, and especially with, you know, recent years, a lot more people are streaming and working on YouTube, artists and makers of art and comics and everything, really. But, you know, like, of all the people that were part of our group, you've really been probably the most consistent from my point of view, like as far as consistently doing videos of quality and making product after product after product. You know, you got stores of art and books and learning stuff like lettering and how to make comics 101, and you know, a whole bunch of stuff, whole catalog, the Scott Serkland catalog.
It's really just, it's like anything else, it's building a habit. And I got in that, and really the 100 days of making comics really helped with that consistency, because I'm like, okay, if I can put out a video every single day for 100 days, I can put out a video a week. And then I just got in the habit of doing that. And now it's kind of like autopilot, you know. It's like, okay, I'll give you sort of a I'm not going to release too much information, but the channel will be changing soon. I'm building a new studio. I feel kind of like I've shared, share just about everything I can share. And I've kind of got away from the actual like tutorials and doing things and showing things that, you know, that was one of, like, if you watch my channel trailer, I talk about all the things I'm going to do. And one of the things that I haven't really been doing is really doing like showing people how to do stuff more hands-on rather than just talking about it, which that stuff's valuable too, I think. I mean, but it's just like, okay, what can I talk about now? And I seem like I'm repeating myself. And it's sort of on autopilot. And if you're new to it, it doesn't matter because it's all new to you. But after you've been doing it for so long, you I'm not burnt out, but I just think I can offer more. And I really want to try to make this channel something successful. And a lot of that has to do with editing and doing it a little more fast paced so you don't lose people. Like right now I've got that intro, and then I'm watching how other people, you know, some more successful YouTubers do it, and they just skip that whole intro because it just gives people an opportunity to bail. You know, it's like, okay, I'm not sure. But if you're quick and you can do some good editing and stuff like that, then people are going to stick with you. And that's kind of, because it was kind of like, I went through this leadership training, you know, was it earlier this year or last year? And it just kind of reframed my mindset. A lot of it is just, it's basically taking full 100% responsibility of everything you do, and also not being a victim. And I was totally being a victim with like, oh, the algorithm is out to get me and all this stuff. And so I kind of changed my mindset. I'm like, no, it's not out to get me. I'm just not creating what the algorithm wants. And the key is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out how I can still maintain my integrity, do the kind of content that I want to do, and still have it work with the algorithm. And theoretically, it's not put into practice yet, but I think I may have an idea, something that I don't think anyone really is doing in the art space, something that's not like these gimmicky, like, oh, I'm going to draw a picture with only red markers, or just something stupid like that. I think it's something fun. People are going to learn a lot from. It's still going to give me an opportunity to teach people stuff and talk about it's comics related, you know, so we'll see. But that's not getting too much into it because it's still a ways off. It probably might not even start till the first of the year. If I'm on schedule. But so I'm just super excited about all this stuff, and I don't talk about it much because, you know, I don't like putting stuff out there and like, what are you talking about? And then we got to wait for it. But So, but I've got big plans and everything. So we'll see where it goes from here.
That's awesome. I'm excited for it. Like there was a YouTuber XTC or something, whatever his name was, like an Asian kid who was a fantastic artist, almost like David Finch style.
Oh, are you talking about the one guy that's like super big, that's like Mr. Beast? Not that big, but the guy that does the customizing. Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yeah. Like he started out just like, he started out just as an artist working on a comic, and I loved that earlier stuff. And then he went off and followed the algorithm and is doing like iPhone covers and
I've seen his stuff, and to me, I'm a little turned off by what he's doing because it seems very much, I don't know. If you watch, I don't know, another big kind of YouTuber just kind of did a few videos on him. If you watch Draw with Jazza, which that's another thing. Like, I mean, he, you know, I was following Jazza like back when we probably had 20,000 subscribers, and now he's in the millions, back when he was doing tutorials. And then, you know, I still watch some of his content, but a lot of it is kind of gimmicky stuff. But if you watch, he did a video on, I forgot the guy, is it ZHC or something like that? He did a video on him, and it's just some of the practices that he uses I'm not a huge fan of, but, you know, so like I said, I really want to maintain my integrity. I don't want to just chase trends and things like that. I want, I mean, I'm going to stop there because I'm about to like reveal kind of what I'm up to. But
you know, it's like, I mean, it's a thing. Like I've been on YouTube, you know, since 2012 thereabouts. I've been doing videos. I'm not high quality. I'm not, you know, like any of that. But I do keep to a certain thing. I talk about art. I talk about comics, which is why I started the sort of new series. And yeah, it's like, yes, I want bigger numbers. I want more subscribers. I want all of that, but I'm not going to push my way to that.
Right,
it's like
right.
I'll just take my own time and get there.
Yeah, and the other thing that I think you need to kind of give yourself credit for is just the community building that you do, because I mean, you really do. You're able to tap into the community and kind of bring people together, and all these different projects you're working on, and seeing all these like new faces and stuff like that. That's something that I think you're really, really good at. So, and it seems like everyone knows you, and so it's like that's part of it.
Yeah.
I mean, that community building part is a big part of being successful online. So,
well, I do have. I do have a lot. Like the best way for me to learn is by making mistakes, and I've have 30 years of mistakes under my belt. So like I'm going to start producing some of my best work going forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, so Young and the Dead, 5th issue. It's a story of a bunch of friends facing off against zombies. It's a black and white book. Talk about the creation process a little if you want to.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, Young and the Dead. It's a kids versus zombie adventure story. It's in the spirit of like Goonies. It's basically like Goonies meets Night of the Living Dead. So if you're into like Goonies, Monster Squad, E.T., Explorers, Stand by Me, Stranger Things, it takes place in the 80s. It's basically imagine those type of movies but with zombies. So that's what it's all about. And I think the concept itself is fairly simple, and that's what it was, because the creation of the story started way back with yet another Kevin Cross kind of creation, which was the Mini Comics Dump Truck, which was this kind of mini comic club where everyone got together. Well, you were involved in that, right?
I knew of it.
Okay.
I didn't actually do a mini comic myself.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Okay. So Mini Comics Dump Truck was this mini comics club where the idea was everyone creates a mini comic, like 8-pager, and then when everyone's done, they share it with everyone else in this group. So at the end, you get all these mini comics in the mail, and it was really cool. So I started off, I'm like, okay, I got to create this 8-page mini comic. Let me think of some ideas, something simple, because I only have 8 pages, so it can't be anything elaborate or complex or anything like that. So I just threw out a bunch of ideas, and I came up with a couple different ideas that featured zombies. And I'm like, kids fighting zombies, kind of like Goonies, but with zombies, or like Monster Squad. They fight Monster Squad. They fight, Dracula, the Wolfman, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Frankenstein. Well, they didn't fight Frankenstein. He was kind of their friend, but that's besides the point. But anyway, they fight all these creatures, but the one creature they didn't fight was a zombie. And I'm like, what if it's all zombies? What if these kids? And basically it was just like, okay, that's easy. I could just do a quick 8-page story. These kids are fighting zombies. And what happened was, when I started writing it, I started writing a little more about the characters, and I'm like, oh, these are kind of fun characters. And then I started getting into the idea, well, what makes the zombies in my story different from the zombies in other stories? I mean, some of the similarities are the same. They want to eat your brains and all that kind of stuff like that. And I borrowed some certain things, like they can sort of vocalize a little bit, kind of like in Return of the Living Dead. So there's certain things I take, but then I came up with some other ideas that I haven't really seen in too many zombie movies. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And the more I kind of dove into it, the more I'm like, wow, there's more to this than just the simple idea of kids fighting zombies. And I just kind of went, and before I knew it, this 8-page story was a 22-page comic, mini comic, but 22-pager. And I'm like, okay, and the story doesn't end there, because I've got a whole idea of where this is going to go. And so that was kind of that was sort of what sparked the whole idea, was trying to come up with something simple, and then it kind of getting out of hand in a good way, and then like, okay, I've got this kind of cool idea and this cool story, but you know, and this is also kind of good advice for anyone that's really worried about, because there's been things that have come along that I've seen that are kind of the same concept. I think there's like Last Kids on Earth. I don't know if they have zombies in it, but there's some other comic books that have come along the way. And of course, when Stranger Things hit, you know, and I've been creating, even though I only have, this is my 5th issue, I put these out very slowly. So I've been working on this for years. So way before Stranger Things was even sort of I don't even, the Duffer Brothers were probably kids, but maybe not that long ago. But anyway, so you know, when stuff like that comes out, it's like, oh, does that bother you that kind of people are coming along and doing something similar to what you're doing? I'm like, not really, because I mean, I'm basing this all on something that like the Goonies and all that stuff, but I'm giving their own spin. And even if somebody's doing a kids fighting zombie story, it's never going to be the same. Everyone's going to add their own spin on it. It's just ideas. Ideas are dime a dozen. It's kind of how you execute those ideas and everything. So,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, I know it's taking you a while for the 5 issues, but you've done so much in between and everything.
Well, that's the thing. And for me, the comics don't necessarily pay the bills. My goal is that once I finish the 5th or the 6th issue and the story's complete, then I'm really going to really make an effort to get it out there and market it, because it'll be it'll be like a collection and everything like that. Right now, I'm just using these as sort of, you know, like benchmarks. So like, because if I had to create a huge like graphic novel, it would be so overwhelming that I'd never get it done. So I'm just going to do these floppy issues, and then I got another one done, and then another one done, and another one, and then eventually I'll have the full story, and then I'm going to try to hopefully make it profitable, you know. But for right now, the comics don't necessarily pay the bill. Sure, I can run a Kickstarter and I can raise some money and stuff, but when you go back and you look at how much time you put into that book, and you figure, and you take whatever money you do after you buy the books and ship the books and do all this stuff, you're like, okay, I'm kind of making minimum wage, but it's something I love doing. So, but I do hope that I can actually make it profitable once the whole story's done. But because the comics really aren't what I'm making a living off of, I do a lot of other stuff, you know. Oh, hey, Creed.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to Creed in a while, but yeah. So, that's kind of, you know, so I'm, you know, I'll do the YouTube, which I don't make any money off of YouTube either, but it is a way to get the words out. So when I do run a Kickstarter, you know, and I put out a bunch of advice out there and everything, and then, you know, people are like, oh, I'm getting advice from this guy. Maybe, you know, he's giving me all this stuff. I might as well back his Kickstarter or whatever. So it works that way. And then also I'll do products and things. I'll do like these digital products that are like kits and tools and things that'll help make comics and stuff like that. So all these little things kind of add up to something, you know. that allow me to take that, whatever it is, 30 minutes or now like an hour or a day or whatever I put into my comic till it's done and get that done.
So since we're talking about it, you want to go to the page and show people?
Yeah. How do let me pull that up. Let's see.
Share button.
Yeah, it's real easy to get to. If you just type in youngandthedead.com, I made it real easy so you don't have to type in some long Kickstarter. Hold on a second.
Right. No problem. And yeah, welcome everybody in the chat. We got Charles Reeves, we got Gary Hodges, CB Smallwood, and Creed.
Okay, so I got it up. So I just go to share.
And then I'll pop up for me to.
All right. All right. So yeah, this is it. This is the Kickstarter. You can watch the video. It talks a little bit about it. It's real short. Try to make it super short, so you know I'm not boring anyone. It's a couple minutes long, and we're still 30 days to go. I launched it yesterday, and we have reached our goal, which is awesome. That's the first time I've ever launched a Kickstarter that funded in 24 hours, and so we're doing good. But we want to keep the momentum rolling. So that's one of the reasons why I'm here, and then I'm going to be doing some other shows and keep. Because with Kickstarter, it's a constant. You have to, like we were talking at the beginning of the show, you kind of have to constantly talk about it until you know. You say till people are got like, is it not blue in the face? I guess what would be the equivalent to hearing something over and over again. But like we said, not everyone's hearing it over and over again. unless they're super fans and they're tuning into everything you're doing. And if that's the case, they don't mind hearing it over and over again. So, but the casual person, chances are they're not going to be getting inundated by all this stuff. So, and if they are, I only do one of these every 2.5 years or something. So it's not like, but anyway, so yeah, and we got, I'll show you. So this time around, I decided, there's people that already, that may already have the issues. So I want to give a different option for them. So I hired some artists to do some variant covers. So and I did one for each cover. So there's 5 issues. This is the variant cover for issue 5 by Russ Leach. Do you know Russ?
Yeah, I know Russ. I really like that cover. That's a good,
So he did an awesome job here. So this is the issue number 5 cover by Russ Leach. This is Federica Marchetti. She is an artist that I work with on another project, and she is just amazing. And I mean, seriously, if I can get to the point where I can just write a comic book and I can fund it and just hire her to do the pages, I would do that because she's awesome. But yeah, so she did this cover for issue number 4, and then the rest of them are kind of down here. But then you can kind of see some of the interior art, and this is sort of the story. So it's very much, it's black and white, kind of that old school indies, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, black and white explosion comic. I'm a big fan of black and white comics. This is the cover that I did for issue number 5. Again, we get a little story. A lot of this particular issue takes place as these kids are on the way to a research facility in this old ice cream truck, and they encounter some weird stuff along the way. And then here they get to the research thing, and then chaos ensues. And then, like I said, if you're into Goonies, Monster Squad, Gremlins, Stranger Things, Night of the Living Dead, then you'll love Young and the Dead. This is another variant cover that Gary Hodges, he's still in the chat. This is Gary's cover for issue number 3. And he just did an amazing job. I try to play to people's strengths. And one of the things, if you're familiar with Gary's comic, DBSM, Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots, if you're familiar with his comics, there's one thing that really stood out to me that he did. He illustrated this car, and it's one of those old cars. I don't know the model, but one of those cars, those ones with the headlights that kind of pop up like this. And the way he drew it was he pays so much attention to detail, but he had a broken headlight, so one was down and one was kind of up, and it's just those little details with the cars and stuff. And I'm like, he's the guy to draw this Trans Am. So I said, I don't want to put too many constraints on you. But for this issue, I want you to feature these 2 characters because they don't get featured enough on the covers, and I want you to feature the Trans Am. And other than that, you can do whatever you want. And he just did an amazing job with it. So that's Gary's cover. And then one of my co-hosts, Corey Kerr, did this one. He did this. So there was my girlfriend back. A year ago, I had a big birthday party. I don't want to say how old I am. Well, I was 50. Okay. So I turned 50. So my girlfriend threw this big birthday party for me. And then, and so she reached out to Corey and Josh. Can you do anything like some artwork or something like that? So Corey had started something when he was kind of getting, I think, super elaborate, and like, we need to do something simple, but he had sort of this idea here, which he didn't finish for my birthday. He ended up doing some video stuff for me. Like she did, like put together this whole video, and Corey edited it and did all this animation that he's awesome at. But he sort of had this sketch that was sort of unfinished, and like, let's revisit that and make a cover of it. So that was kind of the basis of that. And then then this is Josh's cover, which was a birthday present from Josh. So it's kind of cool because one of the things my girlfriend set up was this scavenger hunt. So we went to all these different places. And I had to find clues. And one of the clues ended up being at my comic store. And so and it's like these riddles, and something about I gotta check my comic book pull box. And so I go and ask, is there any comics in there? And then she already pre-arranged all this stuff. So she got the artwork from Josh, the original artwork, and some of these prints here, but the actual original artwork. And if you ever seen Josh's art, he draws like super big. So she already brought it over to the comic store, and they gave me the comics, whatever comics were in my pull box. They said, "Oh, we got something else for you." And they pull out this big giant picture. And first, I'm just kind of like, this original art. I'm like, what is this? And it took me a minute to register. I'm like, oh, this is Josh. And it was just blew me away. So, and he, not only did he give me the original artwork, but he colored it and gave me these prints. And he said, it's your present. You can do whatever you want with it. And so later on, I'm like, I want to make this the issue for number 1. So that's available. So there's, here's some of the rewards. So of course you can get the PDF, digital PDF. You can get all the PDFs, and then we get the physical reward. You can get one of any issue you choose of the standard issues. And then is the next tier, and it's all kind of, like I said, there's an ice cream truck involved and stuff, so it's all kind of ice cream themed. The campaign is, and then because like I said, I'm kind of big on branding, but so you can get all the physical issues, and then here we get at $40 you can get all the variant issues. And if I was backing, that's definitely what I want to get, because I love all these guys and gals and their artists, their renditions of my stuff. And it's the first time I've ever really seen, other people's take on my own character. So it was super cool to get these things. And then I've got an early bird right now that has a remark. So where I draw, actually, if you're familiar with how remarks work, you basically draw right on the cover. So I kind of block it out in white paint, and then I do a little sketch. So for $55, you get like an original sketch. So that's probably, as far as bang for your buck, that's probably your best deal there. And then, and then we've got the ones with both the standard cover and the variants, and plus a blank sketchbook. So if you want to do your own sketching on it, and these covers are great. I mean, I went through Comix Wellspring to print these. And I have done sketch covers for companies like Dynamite and Boom, and they're honestly, they were garbage. I mean, it's like some of them were like glossy. I'm like, how do you expect somebody to draw a sketch on a glossy cover? And so I was kind of like worried, because then Marvel and DC put out pretty good sketch covers, but a lot of the other ones, I'm kind of nervous. I don't know. And then I forgot what was. Do you know Squatchy? You familiar with Squatchy?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, so he does a lot of sketch covers, and he says, no, these covers are great. So I took his word for it. I ordered some, and they were great. So if you want to do your own sketching, they're really good sketch covers, good quality. Then we get into the bigger tiers where we got original artwork. So you can actually get a, an original sketch cover done by me. And like when I do sketch covers, just the sketch covers, like I do a signing, I'm usually charging more than $100. So for $100, not only do you get the sketch cover, but you also get all of the, the comics too. Then for $150, you get the standard, the variant, the sketch cover, and blank sketch cover, and then extras. Plus, we're going to be, since we hit our goal, we're going to start releasing stretch goals. So you'll get whatever stretch goals. And then the big one, this is kind of for anyone with deep pockets, but there's only one available, and that includes the actual original artwork for the cover page. So that's basically it. And then you can add on, if you have if you're missing an issue, somehow you're missing issue 2, you can order just issue 2. Or if you just want to order a bunch of blank sketch covers, you can do that. Or you can add on any of the sketch covers. So say you're just a big fan of Josh, you can get Josh's cover. And then the cool thing I'm doing, so this thing here, this is just some extras. I'm offering it. If you're in the US, you can get these for $30. But if you are international, you get all this stuff for free. So it's a $30 value. You got to pay that. I mean, there's no way around the shipping cost. International, it just costs a lot of money. So you're gonna have to pay $25 to ship it. But I'm throwing in for free for international backers. I'll show you. You'll get all this stuff, the 3D print, the little warning that you can put on your door if you don't want to be disturbed, the paper mask, and the die cut sticker. You get that 30 value for basically what you're paying 25 for that shipping. So I'm trying to help you guys, as best I can. I'm trying to help international backers, because I'm not Amazon, so I can't offer, that kind of free shipping or anything. But it is free shipping if you're in the US. Free shipping. So if you're in the US, so there's no extra cost or anything. And then it's going to be all packed in Gemini mailers, so it's going to be safe and everything. But yeah, so that's basically the campaign. Yeah.
Awesome. And you reached your goal within 24 hours. That's amazing.
Yeah, I've been talking about it. I've just been talking about it beforehand and letting people know it's on its way. And and there's still, still a lot of people I'm going to reach out to. I still want to do more shows and keep going because I've got a ways to go. Because I mean, obviously, I wanted to fund, so I set sort of a, I think I set a goal that was pretty easy to achieve. But obviously, I want this thing to be a little bit bigger. So like I said, we're going to be releasing some stretch goals, and there's some really cool stuff. So if keep this growing, we hit that, and then everyone's going to get some really cool stretch goals. So yeah, this is exactly, I wanted to come out the gate big because I think if you can fund like in that first 24 hours, hopefully maybe it'll get the attention of Kickstarter. Maybe I can get that project we love little tag. I haven't got any of those before, but I'm going to say that this is going to be my time to get it this time around. So we'll see. You just keep going and get people to notice it and everything. And and it's good because I didn't want to just launch just the 5th issue, because if you're coming to that and you don't have the other issues, then it's like, oh, I don't want to just start with the 5th issue. So it doesn't matter where, if you're new to Young and the Dead, you can get all the issues. If you already have some of them and you want the variant covers, you can get that. Or if you just want the newest issue, you can get that. So I'm trying to create it so it's good for people who are already familiar with it, or if you're new to it. So.
Yeah, I mean, if you're brand new to it, you can pick up the first issue all alone and just read the first issue and check it out. Yeah, that's very cool, man. Yeah, I'm not sure what goes into Project We Love. I know Jimmy has gotten a couple of those, perhaps.
I think Amanda has a Kickstarter going on right now, and I think she got it. Which kudos to her, because I think her comic book is kind of not safe for work so much, and they don't always. A lot of times they won't give it to not safe for work content, but
it's Amanda.
Yeah. If you're that big of a name, then I think that they take some notice. So, but I'm not that big of a name, so I'm just gonna hope that I can get that. We'll see.
Yeah. I know, like you were talking about YouTube and algorithm. Like the price, the goal people choose is like sometimes they go really low. Like I guess the lowest you can go is 500. I'm not sure.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
And they'll go at the low price even if they need more, because it's like, oh, they went 200% past their goal and whatever. It's like makes it look good and makes the algorithm work in your favor.
Yeah, because I was kind of talking to my girlfriend about it, and she's not really familiar with Kickstarter, but she is very much like, I said, I wanted to create a goal that I could hit in hopefully the first 24 hours, which I did. And she's kind of like, she's very, powerful. And like, she's like, if you would have set your goal at 3,000, then you could have hit 3,000 in 24 hours. I'm like, okay. You gotta want it. You gotta work for it. So that may be true. I don't know. But so, I mean, I just like, well, there's stretch goals and things coming down, but I'd hate to, set this because the way it's structured is that, right now it's print on demand. If this thing just blows up so big that it's not cost effective, if it makes more sense for me to go offset printing, I can talk to, because I think Comix Wellspring they've got an actual offset printing company behind them. And then I can just talk to them about, okay, we need to do this offset printing so we can get the books down super low, but you got to order huge quantities. But if it doesn't hit that, I can still make money, even if it was where it was now. I can make a little bit of money off of that, after all the costs and everything like that. And it's just right now, it's just that point where it's just adding a little bit to it, the higher it goes. So, I mean, obviously, I don't want it to stall at the $1,200. That's not my intention, not really my end goal in my mind. But I want to set something achievable that we can hit, and then we can kind of go from there. So, yeah. Rather than, because if I set this big goal, like, oh, I want to make this comic, I want to make $8,000. I get $750 towards the end. I get nothing, you know. So to me, it's playing it safe, you know. Yeah, it might be true that if I set it like 800, 8,000 or something, then I really got to really work hard, or else I'm not getting anything. Maybe that would drive me a little more. But part of me, you know, I've got other stuff going on too. I mean, I can try to stay on top of Kickstarter and everything, but I also have to focus on day-to-day life and stuff too. So I don't want to, you know, drive myself, you know, insane, you know, just constantly promoting and letting all my other obligations kind of fall by the wayside.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, I know how stressful a campaign can be, and consuming, and you know, you could still have a regular day and then just connect with it for a few hours or whatever, and that's fine. I think it's, you know, everything's a factor. It's like, you know, it's the time you start your campaign, it's the money you put your goal at, it's the, you know, what's happening out in the other you know, the spectrum of comics, and, you know, like it's the economy, it's a lot of things. But I guess we could shut this off if you're done sharing that, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot that I switched back.
He's just like looking at himself. I know.
No, I actually went back so I could read the chat. I was actually going back because I'm like, oh, what's going on in the chat? So I do see some stuff in the chat. So yeah, Creed, I'm super excited that we hit that so soon. And then CB says very cool variant covers, and yeah, I mean, it looks. I haven't checked on Wildcat lately, but it looked like you were getting super close, CB. So I mean, I want to get that book. So hopefully you can hit that.
Yeah.
And then Gary's in there. He's thanking me for the kind words I said, which is all well deserved. Keith Harper's in there. Thanks, Keith.
Yeah. He's coming back to drawing, so I'm excited about that.
Awesome, awesome.
And, I think I missed one comment. Let's see. Show Paper Girls. It's kind of a time travel version of things like Stranger Things, Goonies, and Dead. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had started collecting Paper Girls when it came out, and then I missed the issue, and then so I stopped reading it because I couldn't find the issue. And then it came out in the trade. So I was aware of Paper Girls, and I started watching the show. I think I'm only at episode like 3 because I got busy with the Kickstarter, but I got to get back to watching that. But yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff I love, you know. I mean, that's like, I love, you know, and then, you know, the kid, again, these girls from the 80s, it's a more time travel. So even though they're in the 80s, they go to the future and stuff. But yeah, that's right up my alley. That, Stranger Things, all that kind of stuff. Super 8, great movie. Yeah.
Oh, I love Super 8. That was great. Russian Girl is like it's a time travel thingy. It's a little more gritty and.
Oh, is that what, Russian Doll?
Russian Doll. Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I think I saw the first. I think I saw the first season of that. Yeah.
Yeah, the second one is pretty interesting and fun in a different way. It's a little different than the season, but yeah. So, is there anything we haven't covered that we can?
Let's see. We talked about the history. We talked about kind of YouTube channels. We talked about the Kickstarter. Well, what about? I mean, what about your Kickstarter? The Kickstarters that you're involved with. Why don't we talk about those?
Well, I mean, CB's in the chat. We got the Wildcat Anthology. I think I got a. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. So it's not the links, but there's a little banner. So got Wildcat Anthology is live on Indiegogo, and Dead is live on Kickstarter. I believe Wildcat ends first, and that's still got another 12 days.
How's it doing?
It's doing really good. Like 83% funded.
Right.
I think it's like $230 left to go or something around
we
that.
can make that happen. Let's make that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really close. I mean, we've been going a long time and trying to get the word out. Everybody involved with the project is getting the word out individually, and I talk about it, and getting closer. Just want to see it
in the chat. I see Dee Dee in the chat. Hey, Dee Dee. Thanks again for all your support. Everyone that backed the project, thank you. I mean, like I said, I've never reached my funding goal that quick on a Kickstarter, so it's super awesome, and it's because of all you guys. So
yeah, and then of course the big big book is Designated, and that's live on Kickstarter, and that's got plenty of time left. But we got a bigger goal. It's just over 6,000 is our goal. I had nothing to do with that number, but that's like Mark's math on figuring out exactly what he needs to.
And it's
coloring done.
Yeah, it's a little different when you're hiring artists. Like, I mean, I hire, like, with variant covers, like some of them, like some of my super good friends, we did sort of a trade-off. The understanding is that when they need a cover done by me, then I'll do it. But other ones I did hire an artist to do. But other than that, I'm the only artist. So, I don't have to have such a high goal because the artwork's I've already created and everything, and I don't have to, I don't have to hire inkers or colorists or anything like that. So it's definitely, if you are running a Kickstarter, and you need that money to actually pay people, don't set a small goal, because if you hit that small goal and you don't hit what you really need, then you're in trouble. So I don't want to give people the wrong impression that, you just set a small goal and then you get your actual goal. Yeah.
I would say, like, making comics is a risk, like any business venture. Like, like you try to do it smartly, but you could lose money. Like you can make no money, which is just as bad. But you try to do a good job as far as putting the books together, and definitely crowdfunding is this whole new wave. It's been going on a while, but it's stronger now. Like, there's more people crowdfunding their books, which means your voice has to be louder, to get the word out, like we were saying. But Designated is issue 1 of 5. It's 2 alien races, and some Earth kids get involved. And because of one alien race starts doing surgery on the kids, they actually put the gems that are like a power source. The kids discover they got some superpowers. So
that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, a big middle and end in 5 books.
I actually talking about,
and it's 30 years in the making.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I had something that I worked on previous to Young and Today. It was kind of in that idea, that kind of vein. Of course, like I said before, everyone's going to tell their different story, but so that's definitely sounds right up my alley. So I think I'm definitely going to have to check that out.
Cool, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're really proud of it, and we got an old friend of ours who's going to be coloring it. There's a couple of samples of the color pages on the campaign, and that's Hassan Godwin. Because like I met Mark, the creator writer of the book. I met him whatever it was, like 25 years ago, and he told me about this project. And we, for 4 years, I co-hosted his radio show. So I know him from way back. He's been a friend ever since. But yeah, I read the complete story way back when, and I was like, this is really well written. I want to be a part of this. I saw the artwork, and I was like, I definitely want to be a part of this. And there's been ups and downs. Life happens and whatnot, but we're finally getting the first book out there and crowdfunding it and just letting people know about it, and hope it really clicks. We get the first issue funded, then hopefully the rest of it will be easy. So it's just going up a hill at the moment, but we'll get there.
Yeah, definitely. That's some determination there to have that idea and for that long, and then finally get to that point where you can execute it. So kudos. Yeah. I'm hoping that becomes a reality for sure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. So I guess we covered everything. I so appreciate everybody who showed up in the chat. And totally appreciate Scott for coming on. It's been a while.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we'll have to get you guys scheduled for Artcasters too, and we can hang out again.
Yeah, that sounds good, man. Definitely make that happen. So yeah, if you've been watching, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and share this video out with your friends so more people can check out The Young and the Dead.
Yeah, just
thanks
like
again.
I said, go to
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, go to youngandthedead.com. It's super easy, and I'll take you right to the Kickstarter.
Yeah, and here it is, so you can check it out. Youngandthedead.com, and that gets you to the Kickstarter page. No
Frank's
problem. Which is
Frank.
Brilliant way to do it. But yeah, okay. So thanks everybody for watching this show, and we'll see you again soon.
And see you, everyone. Thanks again. Thanks, Peter.